What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua live London press conference, and this is the recap, okay? I was originally going to do a live stream on it. It was just too early. It was like 6 o'clock my time, and my office wasn't even available at that time, so forgive me on that. I'll do a recap instead. I will go in depth and go live with the Beyond the Gloves later on. But I wanted to get this video out to you guys to explain what I thought in that what happened in this live press conference. Okay, and this is the last press conference. I feel that both fighters, it was very tranquil. You know, both guys had some key points. You know, start with Ruiz, okay? Or let's start with Anthony Joshua since he's the challenger. You know, he made some couple key points in this press conference. You know, he was never an intention to fight someone that's a cherry pick, even though he could have. He's been fighting champions all his life. He's been in championship fights all his life. And now he's fighting another champion. He's fighting the new unified champion, which made a lot of sense. And what also made sense that I need to add is that Andy Ruiz, according to Anthony Joshua, is the best fighter in the heavyweight division. Why? Because like I told you guys, Andy Ruiz beat the best heavyweight. It was Anthony Joshua, then Tyson Fury, then Deontay Wilder, in that order, okay? Simply because that's how Ring Magazine viewed it, right? So you don't be a fighter, I don't care where you're at, beat the best fighter in the world and not considered as the best fighter in the world. Because let's be realistic, the best fights are not happening. This is boxing, it happens. You won't see Tyson Fury fight Joshua. Joshua hasn't fought Deontay Wilder. The only fight we've seen is Wilder and Fury. And what happened? They had a draw. They couldn't even make it a decisive victor in that fight. You know what I mean? So what are the odds of these guys actually getting the fight done? You know what I mean? So we have to go on what has happened. And what was ranked was Anthony Joshua was ranked number 1. So Anthony Ruiz came, knocked him off. So guess what? He's number 1. So even Anthony Joshua agreed to that. Okay. Now, and it's also, it's also great to know if you win, he's back at number 1. Anyway, Joshua he was more calm, I feel, in London. He made jokes, him and Andy, had to grow up, didn't really, had to struggle with things. Something Eddie Hearn don't know nothing about. His way of joking about Eddie Hearn, okay? And he was like, it's an outside joke, not an inside one. But anyway, I thought that was humorous. Now to the champion, Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, of course, Eddie Hearn asked him about his bling bling and his Rolls Royces and the new houses, and he was flossing the jewelry, flossing at ice and the necklaces and chains and all that, you know what I mean? And he was like, hey, I feel that Anthony Joshua was trying to take Cheerios out of my kid's mouth now. I'll die before I let that happen, And he said, well, when he grew up, he wanted to quit too. But it was like, the only thing he knows how to do is box and work construction with his dad. And then his dad was like, hey, you either going to work or you're going to go in the gym and make some of yourself. He said, I don't want to go out and work. I don't want to work out in the sun. I don't want to do that shit. That was quite humorous. So, it was the energy in there, the atmosphere was awesome. I liked it. It was tranquil, it was calm. People look more relaxed because I think it's coming to an end. You know what I mean? And I think it's they just want to get it over with. Now, when I did notice something, I seen the face-off, and the face-off, Anthony Joshua was stone-faced. Andy Ruiz was looking upward. He kind of has a poker face these days, because you really can't see anything past that, right? But, his cheeks did get rosy, on the first Saudi Arabia, but this time it didn't. He didn't break. Shannon Briggs wasn't there to say, let's go, champ, right? but he didn't break. But one thing I want to add about this particular face-off, before the face-off, you had, when they said, just get prepared for this face-off, Anthony Joshua had this like, this expression. Like, I don't know if that was like nervousness. I don't know if it was, like, I don't know what that was. But he looked like he had to exhale when he said face off. Maybe he was just tired of sitting in that position long. I'm not sure. But you can speculate that maybe he was like, okay, here we go again. Right? But I thought that was worth mentioning because it happened. Right? So I'm looking at the body language, like I said, the tone of these fighters. I'm looking at their attitude, their facial expressions. I'm watching everything. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a good fight. We'll see what they have to offer. Of course, the trainers put their knowledge in there, and they're both ready for up for the challenge. And everything they've basically said was what they said before anyway. So I don't have to really go through that again. But I did remember Rob McCracken saying that, not having any excuses, but, it's hard to get a person prepared for a new fighter, especially when another fighter, pulls out, like not even pull out, but failed drug test like Jarrell Miller did. Okay. So it was like, it's just difficult to really get prepared, so he's admitting that it wasn't really an easy task to really acclimate to another fighter. You know what I mean? A lot of people might look at that as an excuse, whatever, that, but he said that's the reality of it. So he knows who he's going to fight, and that'll be great. Manny Robles, let's balance this out. He said that Anthony Joshua is a good fighter and a great person, and a greater person, he said. So if you can extract from that, him saying that maybe Anthony Joshua, he's a great person, but he's a greater person than he is a boxer. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people might look at it and they're like, wait a minute, he's a good boxer, but he's a greater person, instead of a greater boxer and a greater person, or a great boxer. He didn't say that. He used good boxer, and a good person, a greater person. So he's really amplifying the fact that he is, a good individual, but not necessarily the best boxer. You see what I'm saying? So I thought that was worth mentioning in that. But this is my recap on that. It looks like it's going to be a great fight. I can't wait to see Beyond the Gloves or the face-off or whatnot, the British face-offs version of that. And I'm going to try to do that live, get the time for that for you guys. But you guys tell me what you think about the press conference. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.